talk a little bit about the chapter in the book about 101 Gruffalos and why I called it that. It was basically because I wanted to point out how our attitudes towards learning seem to change. Toddlers absolutely delight in learning, delight in reading, delight in finding things out, and they really do prioritize learning over everything else. They're learning machines. But too often as adults, what we do is we neglect that kind of joy and escapism of learning and being really fully lost in something which kind of fires our intellectual curiosity, captures our imagination. And what we do is we neglect the opportunity for personal development, intellectual growth, and adding to kind of the professional knowledge and skills canon that we have in teaching. And we relegate it. We relegate it to the one day, the holidays, or even worse, the kind of someday, maybe never, really. But if we're going to be leaders of learning in a classroom, or if you're in a leadership post or position, what we really need to do is, like toddlers, be absolutely voracious in our appetites for learning and development. And we need to find that learning which really kind of fires our intellectual curiosity, keeps us thinking. We need to seek opposing or challenging viewpoints to galvanize where we stand on something, or to kind of to challenge and change our thinking. We basically need to prioritize the adventure of learning and prioritize that over the mundane and over the procedural. A bit like kind of peppering your learning or peppering your diet with something that's really interesting, and kind of savor that in your work. And obviously it's part of our professional responsibilities. It's in the teacher standards, it's in the core content framework, it's in the early career development stuff. It's everywhere. We have to do it as a profession, but really, is it enacted and is it embedded, or is it like a series of hoops through which we're just having to jump because we have to do professional learning? So what's really important is like the toddlers, is to find something to be up to. Now, my favourite ever book written by an educationalist is The Magic Weaving Business by Sir John Jones, and he talks about in there that the best people, not just in teaching but everywhere, are always up to something. They're always, they've got a project or something or a new way of looking at something, and they're always up to it. Now, at the moment, with kind of lockdown, there are loads of opportunities for us to sort of be up to something. Now, it might be reflecting on our own practice. It might be immersing ourselves in children's literature or in the subject knowledge associated with the subjects that we teach, or really delving deep into some aspects of our practice. But what we need to be mindful of is there's a wealth of information out there. So we kind of need to approach it with a bit of a critical eye, a bit of a more discerning way of looking at it. And one way that really helps me to decide what I'm going to learn is the model that the Teacher Development Trust over here have, which is the organisational edge. And David Weston from the Teacher Development Trust, in his book, Unleashing Great Teaching, talks about the organisational edge, about how what you learn, unless it's enacted at the kind of outer edge between the school, its staff, its leaders, its policies, its procedures, unless that has an impact on the schools and the staff, the schools and the communities and the families that we serve, then it's not really going to change anything. So one way of thinking about what you really want to get involved in is what kind of impact is it going to have on that organisational edge. The other thing to be mindful of at the moment is that we can only kind of amass what we call propositional knowledge, which is facts and theory. Now, that's not a bad thing. Teacher subject knowledge and knowledge of your subject is absolutely critical, but we can't enact it in the way that we normally would at the moment. We can't amass that kind of case and strategic knowledge. So we need to be mindful of what we're actually going to read and to delve into, because otherwise there's so much out there. We could be a little bit like an unsupervised toddler at a buffet and just having a little bit of everything. So having that really clear focus on what's going to change on the organisational edge as a result of me doing this learning, and am I interested in? Is it something I want to be up to? Is really, really important. So I guess what I'm really saying is find something that, just like a kid, makes you want to read long into the night with a torch. Kind of, you just can't put it down because you're really fired up about it. And if you can marry that with impact on the organisational edge, then we're on to a winner. So my kind of question that I've been mulling over, I know what I'm up to. I know what I'm kind of doing, what I'm kind of up to. But it's actually taking the time to think about what really fires your intellectual curiosity. And as Sir John Jones would ask you, what are you up to at the moment?